When Jesus had ceased praying on one occasion, his disciples said, "Lord, teach us to pray, as John also taught his disciples." Luke 11 and verse 1. These disciples were desiring to learn not only about prayer, but also how to pray. Too many of us, I believe, are negligent in our prayers. It may be that we are not as concerned about it as we ought to be. Perhaps we don't pray as much or as often as we could or we should. It's easy for prayer to become nothing more than just a ritual or a recital of words and phrases. And time is not always taken to pray for the things or the people that we should. We see when we consider prayer that there are both public and private prayers. We will be discussing each of these types of prayers as we go through our lessons on the subject of prayer over the next several days. But first, let's begin by answering the question, what is prayer? Well, first we see that prayer is not merely wishing for something or merely thinking about something or just reciting some memorized lines. Prayer is our means of communicating with God, as Jesus revealed in Luke 18, verses 10 through 14. It is the act of communicating the thoughts of man to the infinite mind of God. We express our heart's desires to God when we pray, Romans 10 and verse 1. But also we see some statements that discuss the subject of prayer. We see that prayer is the avenue through which one approaches the Almighty. Prayer is the voice of our faith. It is a correspondence that is fixed in heaven. And prayer is so simple. It's like quietly opening the door and slipping into the very presence of God. And friends, what a great privilege that is, to be able to have access to God, as John tells us in 1 John 3 and verse 1. It's comparable to being invited into the throne room for a private discussion with the king or into the Oval Office with the president. We are invited to open up our hearts to our Creator, the ruler of the universe, and make our requests known unto Him. But what about the need for prayer? Why should we devote time to speaking to God? Well, first we see that it is a command of God. 1 Thessalonians 5:17, 1 Timothy 2:8, Luke 18:1, Matthew 6 verses 9 through 13 are just a small sampling of the passages that show us that it is a command for us to pray to God. But also, we see that we should want to communicate with God because children want to talk with their father. This is a natural desire. Can you imagine? And many of you that no longer have your biological father with you can imagine not being able to speak with your father. But also, as a father, imagine never being able to speak with your children again. We would want to seize every opportunity that we have. And so we should want to pray to God because we get to speak with our Father. But also, as revealed in Matthew chapter 7, verses 9 through 11, we should want to pray because God is concerned with our wants and with our needs. He's not so far removed from man that He doesn't care about the struggles that we face. In fact, He cares so much for us that Luke 12, verse 7 says that even the hairs of our head are numbered. But also, we should want to pray to find grace to help in time of need, Hebrews 4 and verse 16. Because we are human, we do have times when we are weak, when we are frail, and we're dependent upon the assistance of God's divine power. We stand in continual need of God's care and protection. This is why the Apostle Paul said to pray without ceasing, 1 Thessalonians 5:17. This suggests something about a continual need that we have. Who does not recognize that he can't make it without God's help? Remember that we are the mere branches that need the vine for life, and Jesus is that vine, John 15 and verse 5. But also we should want to pray because God is almighty. With God, friends, all things are possible, Matthew 19 and verse 26. And God has the power to do exceedingly abundantly above all that we ask or we think, Ephesians 3:20. God has the power to do something about all of our concerns. He knows all and He controls all. If we pray for peace, we pray for the rulers of this world, or we pray for someone with some type of an infirmity, God has the power to do something about those things. Friends, these are just a few of the reasons why we need to pray. And please consider these things and have a blessed day.